This puppet show stays on because of you fools.
Welcome to the She's So Right Show. We are two conservative women called by Christ to speak up for what's right.
Lindsey Graham, known nationally as the Patriot Barbie, is a proud author, public speaker, and brave political advocate for freedoms, rights, and conservative values.
Brandie Barkley is a powerful Christian leader and founder of Power Soul, certified Christian life coach and public speaker, forging God's battle cry to strengthen believers.
Guys, get ready to say it way more than you're used to. She's So Right starts now.
Freedom fighters, are you tired of giving your hard-earned money to big corporations who use their power against us? We are done. As conservatives, the best and most effective way to vote is with our dollars. You can shop with all our favorite companies, sponsors, and affiliates right on our website.
Go to www.shesorightshow.com and click the shop page. We are proud affiliates for MyPillow, My Patriot Supply, and other conservative brands. Get massive savings. Go to shesorightshow.com. Join us in supporting American companies. Oh, freedom fighters, we have literally been warming up for the last 3 months for this day. We're so excited. We have my friend and amazing patriot Kari Lake in the house today. Just say,
How professional do we need to be here?
We're not being really professional.
I want to be slightly offended that she's not
we are
my
not
friend.
the
start now,
we're
guys.
she
Let's
we're,
just have fun.
we're she's so right. We're not the war room.
My
Okay?
soon-to-be friend.
Okay, so wait, real quick bio for any of you that haven't been tuned in
Real
at all.
professional, real quick.
Okay, get out from under your rock. Ready? Kari Lake is the Trump-endorsed candidate for governor of Arizona. Woo! She walked away from her career as the most highly respected and most watched anchor in Arizona to protest the fake corporate media. Now, seeing the need for strong leadership, she is running for governor of Arizona and is set to be the most conservative candidate this state has ever seen, for all you doubters out there. Kari is committed to returning Arizona back to traditional American values, embracing our Western heritage, and creating a strong, safe, and prosperous place again to raise a family. Her brand of common sense conservatism is committed to lowering taxes, securing our border, medical freedom, election integrity, and persevering in preserving individual liberties. How awesome is that? Yay! When you're here.
Are we super
Let's
loud?
party.
A little bit.
I just
I'm
blow your
awake now.
eardrum.
She's used to the news,
was
and
like,
they're like,
this is
"Kari, tell us
loud."
about."
No, it's like the Griswolds. Thanks, Clark. Now she's deaf.
I was all fine with the music, and then Brandie started talking.
Oh, Brandie's the loud one.
okay.
Oh,
I'm
imagine
awake.
that.
Oh, maybe it's my mic. Maybe it's up too loud.
No,
oh, well.
it's perfect. I'm
I
so
can
glad
hear.
to be here. We've been
We're
talking
glad to
about
have
this
you.
for a long time.
I know. So excited. So we just got to get down to business because
We need all the Kari we can get
everybody
into this
wants to
episode.
know. Just, I mean, you are bringing it to these stages and to these debates, and you're feisty and rascally, and I love that about you. And to be honest, we need that right now. We need that right now.
Do. Yeah. I mean, we just did a forum, and I kind of turned it into a little bit of a bar fight because we can't allow people running for office to say one thing when we know they're doing the other thing. So I'm not in this because I want to be a politician. I've told you that. I mean, nobody would want to sign up for this. You get slandered, attacked. They sling mud that's not even true at you. But we're in the 11th hour, I believe, to save this state and save this country. So I'm doing this. I'm using my name ID. I'm using my love for Arizona, my knowledge of this state, 27 years covering it, and every issue and covering the people and getting to know them. And we need to save them. I think I'm in a unique position that I can be a representative of we the people, using my background, my name ID to go in here and return our government back to the people. Absolutely. But I'm running against some swamp creatures. And so to sit there in a forum when they're trying to act like they're America first and they're all about, freeing us up from all of these tyrannical mandates when they were in fact part of ensuring that we were held under those mandates, I just can't sit there and allow those lies to happen. So I am, throwing a few chairs and punches, but we need to do that right now and hold people accountable. Well, and I want to be held accountable. If I get into office and somebody says, you need to, why are you doing that? I will be the representative of the people that will stand up and say, here's what we're doing and here's why. We need to hold everybody accountable, including, and what we haven't been doing, members of our media. And as a candidate, I'm trying to hold them accountable right now because I'm out there getting interviewed by people and I know where they're going with it. They show up, they act like they want to do a real fair piece, and you already know before they get there, they've got the planned attack piece.
Yep.
And so I'm calling them out. We need to start calling out members of the media, finding out what their bias is, who owns their station, who's behind their propaganda. Because until we educate ourselves on just all the propaganda that's out there, I don't think we can be educated voters or educated citizens.
Right. Well, and one of the things you said is holding the other candidates responsible for saying one thing and doing the other. That's a bipartisan issue. That's not Democrat or Republican. Why wouldn't every party want to elect someone that stands by what they say? And a lot of, our experience with you, Kari, which is why we not only have you on, but I personally endorse you, is behind the scenes conversations are the same exact conversation as when I watch you on the news or in a debate or on any stage at all. The same consistent playing field, the same consistent statements are being made across the board.
Yeah.
They say that when you're telling the truth, it's easy to talk.
Yeah.
When you're lying, you've got to keep your lies straight.
Yeah.
No one's been able to catch you in a lie. They can come at you every angle they want when you go in prepared. But one thing they haven't caught you in is a lie.
Right. I mean, I'm having a conversation with the guys in the control booth before I got out, and I thought, everything that I said in there, I stand by. I mean, they weren't recording me, but if they were, I just really try to behave in a way that everything I say, if it were recorded, that's fine because I'm speaking the truth.
Authenticity.
Yes, absolutely.
Hard to find in a politician.
Yeah.
And they're trying to, it's so funny because I've got 27 years of history with the people of Arizona, invited into their homes. So that's a pretty intimate relationship. And I mean, and I did the nighttime news, so people would watch me in bed. I mean, that's about as intimate as you can go.
Sexy
They would
time.
say, my husband and I were watching you last night from bed. And I'm like, okay, interesting. Thank you. And now, I'm blessed. I covered the state fairly. I always tried to be an honest reporter and not show bias. And now they're trying to take that 27 years of goodwill that I have with the people of Arizona and try to find a way to twist it and turn it. And I don't think it's going to work. It's sad that that's what they are trying to do. But politics is an ugly game, and I'm a tough cookie.
Yep.
The youngest of 9. It's like, I don't think that they're going to be able to bully me because I've been bullied by 8 siblings my entire life. Once you're from a
Isn't
big
that
family.
perfect? Isn't that amazing how God uses all things for what he has planned for us?
Even how many kids your mom popped out.
It's a training up.
I always joke my husband's an only child, and I'm like, you never got bullied. He just got loved. And I'm like, you needed to spend a week in my world with 8 older siblings. And, it was constantly fighting for your life. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I
Do you
do.
even know what a noogie is? Is that, are they still called
No,
noogies?
I mean,
Do kids even noogie each other
one
anymore?
time, I should show you my scars, literal
Oh
scars.
my
on my
gosh,
arms.
she's showing us
I
her
always
literal
had short.
scars.
I always had short fingernails, but my sister Jen had long nails, and every fight turned into her clawing my
Oh my
she was like a
gosh.
cat.
Oh gosh, Kari, you don't even
She's got
understand.
battle
I
wounds.
almost went to jail over a bottle of hairspray in high school with my sister. We
God.
went. We were it came to blows and pulling hair out. So I totally get it.
And I understand that, and I side with you on that.
I'm just letting you guys know I can't hear my mic. So if I'm,
Oh, no.
that's why I was probably yelling in the beginning. I literally can't hear myself.
I hate that.
So
Oh, good.
just
Kari,
tell
let's
me.
talk.
Just
let's
poke.
talk. Let's talk
just
about
hey,
Brandie behind her
Lynn.
back.
So
I'm just
Liz,
kidding.
just poke me if I'm
Okay.
too high or low.
Okay.
You want to move to that mic?
No.
I don't know. La la la. There it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
You're on the
she's
wrong
gonna
mic.
See,
get-
Lindsay was trying
She wanted
to.
to
She's
snuggle
always
with
trying
me.
to push me out of my realm.
We just solved the problem right there.
Just solve
Kari
the
Lake
problem.
solves the problem, actually.
Yeah, my whole life, you're right. God prepares you. Of course, I had no idea I was going to run for governor. I just realized I had to get out of the news media because, President Trump called it the fake news. I thought, well, at least I'm working for the good guys.
Right.
And then during COVID, I realized there are no good guys. In the corporate media, there is an agenda being pushed on the people. How many stories did you see during the height of COVID on the effectiveness of early treatment, ivermectin,
0.
hydroxychloroquine, vitamin D, getting outside, not staying inside, getting some fresh air? None of that was covered. And then when the riots happened and all of that, and how the media was spinning that into peaceful protests,
Right.
I mean, I didn't fall off the turnip truck yesterday. This is nonsense. So I realized I had to leave that. I did not plan to go into politics. And when I did finally make that decision, because the people of Arizona, in reaching out to me and saying, thank you for being an honest journalist, would you consider running for office? And at first I laughed at it and thought, okay, they must think I'm crazy if they're suggesting that. But then it was like a steady drumbeat of people saying, we need people like you in office.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I think that God would not have given me the courage to walk away from my job if he had laid out what was coming next.
Yeah.
Because I would have said, oh my gosh, that's way too
So
daunting.
true. I think that's why he only illuminates one step at a time. If we saw the whole thing, we'd run away.
Yeah.
We'd be afraid. But you know what's amazing right now? I'm not afraid of anything. I think
So
when you make a step, and when we realize what's happening in our world, what we're about to lose if we don't all stand up and do the right thing, you realize it's like what will happen to us if we don't step forward and do the right thing is so scary that nothing
else.
I'm encountering now can scare me. What scares me is losing this country.
Yep.
And nothing else.
And our
scares me.
children.
Yeah.
Amen.
We just got off the our last episode with Michael DeLeon, who gave us just a heartbreaking testimony of what's happening with our border and fentanyl and our children and the indoctrination and how all of it is kind of a spider web of plan that, we believe, the government or George Soros or whoever has had all along. So when we get back from break, I'd like to talk about probably
Definitely.
border issues and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then we'll do our sneak attack where we ask Kari a question that'll trick her. I'm just kidding.
I can't wait.
We're going to totally.
You know
I'll
what?
be CNN.
Truly ask me anything.
Okay.
I always say that. I go into a room and I say, I'll answer any question.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I'll
I'm
give you the answer
excited.
you want, but I'm going to ask.
You
I'm
might
gonna
not like
answer
it,
anything.
but yes.
So I think we only have a few seconds left, so I don't want to get into something too crazy, but I will leave everyone at break with this thought. Think about this. 3/4 of the fentanyl coming into the U.S. is coming through the Arizona border. 2/3, forgive me. 2/3. Why did it?
2/3 is more.
2/3 is more. 2/3 of fentanyl in this nation is
Entire
coming
US.
through our state. So, Kari, can't wait to talk to you about that.
Okay.
All right, you guys are listening to the She's So Right show with Brandie Barclay, Lindsey Graham, and today our amazing special guest, gubernatorial candidate, the one and only candidate to vote for, Kari Lake. We'll be right back.
Nowhere too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now.
Hey guys, welcome back to the She's So Right show. I'm coming in with some hot enthusiasm. I am 2 for 2 for saying really dumb stuff on the radio.
And I'm agreeing with
So
her.
I'm going to say whatever I need to say right now, get it out, and then I'm going to stop talking. I'm just
No,
kidding.
we
I'm
don't
never,
want you
you
to
guys,
stop.
I'll
That's not
never
true.
stop talking. You know that. Come on.
So
We're here with Kari Lake.
2/3 of fentanyl is coming across our border. And the overdoses have overtaken car crashes as the leading cause of death among teenagers in Arizona. In our Arizona border county, I mean, I think our entire last show was this huge epidemic that no one is talking about. We're talking about masks and this plandemic of this stupid virus. And we have an open border. And I just want to get your heart, Kari, about your thoughts and what you'll do as governor to stop that.
Well, let's talk about the border. I have put out, I think, the most comprehensive, bold, aggressive plan to secure our border. And we need to. This isn't just an issue with the Mexican drug cartels. These are international cartels that are narco-terrorist cartels, and China's involved, heavily involved. All of the fentanyl that you talked about, 66% of it coming up through Arizona is coming from China into Mexico, up through Arizona
Crazy.
to poison America.
Yes.
They're weakening us. They want us weakened and helpless so that they can take over. The Chinese are really, truly evil. And I'm not talking about the people of China. I'm talking about the CCP, the communist regime.
Yeah.
And they unleashed this virus on the world. And they've taken all of our industry, they've taken our manufacturing, they've taken our jobs because our political elite over the past several decades, over the past generation, have sold us out. And the truth of the matter is China is nothing without us. They've taken our economy. They've stolen it. And when we walk away from them and say no more, they will crumble. But we have to have political leaders who say we're walking away. And we will, on day one, we are going to get rid of any deal we have with the CCP here in Arizona when I'm governor. And I frankly think we should defraud on every penny we owe them. They have put us in debt.
Exactly.
And our political elite has made sure that we make sure we pay China back. You know what I say?
We don't owe you a dime now.
I don't want to use the word, starts with an S, screw China.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
truly.
Exactly. I mean, they're sending drugs.
They're poisoning our young people.
To our kids, right. I mean, think of the cost that we're accruing just with that.
They've taken our economy and they've taken our manufacturing and they're poisoning our people and weakening this country, and they've unleashed a virus on the world that's cost Arizona like $2.7 billion if you try to put it into a figure. But you can't put things into a figure of what it's done to our children.
The suicide rate.
The overdose, the people who've died from this virus. You can't put into a figure what our kids have lost over the past couple of years with mandates, with masks on their face. They can't communicate. They can't breathe well. Our older kids, 18, 25-year-olds, they can't go on dates. They can't kiss the boy. They can't even. I don't communicate well. If I'm in a mask for 5 minutes, I shut down.
Yeah.
And so this is all from China. And our border plan is very, very strong. We are going to take our power that we own. We are sovereign states back from the federal government. They've dropped the ball, and I think they've done it intentionally.
Absolutely.
I think Joe Biden is a big part of this. And we're taking it back. Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution, if we're being invaded, we can protect our border. And we're going to do that. We're going to finish President Trump's wall. And as governor, the commander-in-chief of the Arizona National Guard, we're going to put our National Guard down there.
Woo!
Yes.
We'll start arresting people who come
I
across.
can't wait.
I've been thinking,
This can't come fast enough.
Like, do we as citizens need to go down there and hold the line ourselves? I mean, that's what I'm starting to
part
be
of the
concerned
plan,
about.
Part of my plan allows law enforcement to deputize former law enforcement or ex-military to help out.
Wonderful.
We have to start up border courts. And when we start arresting people coming across for trespassing in any little infraction, we're going to have to start throwing the book at people coming across rather than welcoming in and saying, okay, here's a slip, show up at your court date. No, that's not going to happen
when they're
anymore.
carrying a backpack of poison for our kids.
Well, and the other thing is they're sending the drones over. And part of our plan, once we get people sent back, we're going to start arresting and sending people back. We're going to start destroying these tunnels where drugs are coming up. And we'll blow them up. They do that in Israel. We're going to take a cue from our Israeli friends and how they handle the Hamas tunnels. And we will start shooting down the cartel drones that are coming over, dropping drugs or doing surveillance. We're letting that happen.
It's our airspace, yeah.
They're trying to destroy our country, and we're allowing them to do it. I mean, we're going to start shooting those drones down.
Good.
This is insane.
It's warfare. It's just a different kind of war.
Yes.
And I think, we talk about this a lot, Linz and I. This is war. It's bio-war. It's more over the mind, and whenever when I was just listening to Kari talk about this, I think about the bleeding heart, thinking, well, what about the little Mexican mom with her 3 kids on her back coming across? You guys, those are the pictures you think of. I know you're thinking that, some of you. I want you to know that half those women with those kids, they're not even their kids.
Right.
They're stealing people's kids. So it's all there's so much facade and deception to get you to think that this is not a compassionate act when it is compassion. There's less kids being stolen from their real parents and used as little ploys to get them into the country.
Yeah, since when is smuggling drugs, since when is smuggling human beings, since when is trafficking children compassion? That's what's happening at the border. And somebody said it's heartless and this is the Latino community's offended. Well, you know what? The Latino community is not offended by tough talk at the border and tough action. I don't care if you're Latino, if you're African American, if you're Native American, if you're white, if you're just a mutt like me. You want safe streets. I want my kids safe. I don't want the cartels in control. I don't know who wants the narco terrorists running the show in our state. And it's frightening when I hear people talk that way. It's cruel what's happening. People are being used. They're being manipulated. They're coming here and then having to pay off their debt to the cartels and having to work. And it's really not a good life. And I was talking to a couple Border Patrol agents who are working on the California side. And they said, Kari, we never see anybody coming up from Mexico anymore. It's all people coming from Ukraine and other countries. 140, might even be 160 countries in the world have gotten the word from Joe Biden that it's open border and you can come right on in. So people are coming from all over the world. And it's not people coming here from Mexico. It's all over the world. And it's frightening what's happening.
I always say, I don't care if it's a leprechaun with a rainbow in his backpack. I don't care what race. I mean, literally, it has nothing to do with race or nationality. It has to do with people need to be vetted before they're coming into our country. And, you know, right now, I think in Scottsdale, these hotels are being, there's immigrants in there, illegal immigrants with their children. There's pictures of it on Instagram of families with their kids stealing grocery carts to put it. There's no law. There's no law. It's like, why are they exempt from the law? And who's paying for their free cell phone, their food, their hotel? Who's paying for this, you guys?
Talk to somebody who came in legally, is a legal immigrant, became a citizen, and they are appalled by this. The work they went through to come here legally.
When they could have just waited a couple years till Biden was
And then
in.
imagine if you're a struggling family, Arizona family, who you're struggling to pay your rent. You can't afford the AC. You can't afford all of these things, and you're watching our government give this to somebody who shouldn't even be here.
Yep.
It's cruel, and it's cruel for the people of Arizona. I think it's cruel all the way around. I don't know how you ever can justify that in your head.
You can't really justify it. You guys will be right back. You're listening to the She's So Right show with Brandie Barclay, Lindsey Graham, and our very special guest today, Kari Lake. Hey, freedom fighters, we're back listening to the She's So Right show, and we have gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake in the house. And we were just talking about our fabulous open border and what it's doing to our state, to our nation. And that's a perfect segue. What are you goofballs doing?
Just taking pictures of
Okay,
you.
I just
Stop
have
it.
to say something.
What?
Kari Lake is very fun.
Yes, she is very
She
fun.
makes these faces, and we just came back on the air, and I
know.
was laughing at the face she
We're
made.
trying to
So
concentrate.
nice to do an interview without being on camera because you can
I know, you
make
can just be a
faces. Yeah.
goofball.
Yeah, you don't have to have a presentation.
That's well, obviously we were made for radio, so we could just be complete goofballs all the
Actually,
time.
you do not have a face for radio. You know, they used to say they got a face for radio. Oh my God. You guys have a face for
Video
full-on
killed
TV.
the radio star. You know that.
Yep, I do. But anyway, she's very fun.
You remember that song?
Yes.
Oh,
it was like, I
you
was
were like
2.
3. Yeah. That's awesome.
I remember from that weird movie where they
MTV.
No, it was a movie where they all
She
worked
doesn't know what
in
MTV is.
Empire Records. MTV.
Oh,
I was
that's
not
funny.
allowed to watch MTV. I know that.
Really?
I was not allowed. No. What do you think?
Well,
I
it
was
used to be
raised up
good
so
when it
right.
was just videos, and then
Yeah.
they started doing programming, and it got weird.
and then everything was reality TV.
Everything was the buses
Yeah.
going across the U.S. doing
was the-
reality stars. Didn't they
Yeah.
start reality TV with
Yes.
the road trip or something?
Yeah, what was it called?
TV
I
Road
forget.
Rules.
No, I don't know. It was the one where they all lived together.
Yeah, the roommates.
Big
The
brother.
roommates. What was that
I
called?
don't remember.
Oh my.
but-
Real
Oh
World.
my gosh,
Oh, Jeremy
for the win.
Yes,
Real World.
started
Real
getting-
World.
You see him back there biting his lip, biting his nails like
He's
how
like,
come
I
they
wish
can't
I
think
were
of it.
on the show right now.
Gosh.
All right. Speaking of a bunch of people,
Real world.
yeah, the
Sadly,
real
the
world.
real world is
Yeah,
getting
you want a
pretty
reality show.
dicey out there, isn't it?
it really
how's
is
that for a
dicey.
segue?
And now with the open border and all of these people coming in with nowhere to live, we have a homelessness problem. What is your thought on that right
Well,
now?
I mean, you mentioned a lot of the people coming in, the federal government setting up in shelters and in hotels. The real problem is, I believe, the people that are homeless are really truly the American citizens that are homeless. And I put out a homeless policy. It really focuses on returning and restoring quality of life for Arizonans, because how many of us have driven down the street and went, wow, where'd that little tent city come from? And where did these people sitting there, they're out of their mind, they're on drugs, and we're watching this, and we're afraid to go downtown to a game and eat a dinner at a restaurant because we're going to be accosted by somebody who's out of their minds on drugs, or we want to take the kids to the park and we have to worry about stepping on a needle. It's getting to the point where we are going to have a tipping point and become like Southern California, LA, or San Francisco.
That's right.
Portland, Seattle. These are dead cities. These are hollowed out cities where they've let the homeless take over. And I'm not talking about people who want to get help and are getting help. 70% of the homeless population are working. They've got skin in the game. They're working toward getting off the streets or getting help through a shelter and a job training program. But there's about 30% who remain on the streets and choose to stay on the streets. I know it's hard for us to imagine.
Some mental illness, drug use. So you're saying 70%?
30% of the people that are on the streets are really choosing
To stay there.
Stay there.
Okay.
And we're allowing that, and that's actually not compassion.
Right.
We're allowing them to. Many of them think, well, look, I can live here. The weather's not too bad. I've got a tent. I've got my stuff. I can use. I can commit petty crimes to get money, and we're not going to allow that anymore because for two reasons. One, it's not fair for the tax-paying citizens of this state.
Thank you.
We have built this state. Our taxes have gone to build parks and sidewalks, and we live in a beautiful state. We want to enjoy it safely with our families. Walking down the street, we want to be able to enjoy it. So we're taking on the homeless situation. The industry created around homelessness doesn't always want to end the problem because there's so much money. We want to take and ban urban camping, get people into shelter beds, and then make them take part in a program where they're either getting help for their mental illness or their drug addiction. But
Yay.
we are not going to allow people to continue to live and use on the streets and cause trouble. It's not going to happen.
So if we're
here.
going to be paying for something, we might as well be paying for something in a righteous way for them to get better.
Which
So
helps
they're-
them too.
We're paying,
Exactly.
we're paying a lot into these programs, and many of them aren't working. They're not showing results. We're going to create enough shelter beds, and they don't have to be fancy. You know, the people are living in a tent on the street.
That's
They
right.
don't have to be fancy. But in order to ban urban camping, which is what we're seeing in L.A. and San Francisco, all these cities, even in Phoenix and other parts of Arizona, up in small towns as well, we have to be able to say we have enough shelter beds for them to go to. And then we tell them, you either get help and take a shelter bed, or you move on and find a state that will allow this drug-induced street living.
Oregon would love to have
Oregon
you.
would love to have you, but
I'll give you directions.
If you've had a loved one who's battled with addiction and you keep enabling that lifestyle,
right.
they never
Exactly.
get better. A lot of it isn't mental illness; it's drug-induced
It's enabling.
psychosis.
Like you just said, we're enabling it.
And once they clear their mind up and they get off the drugs, they say, "Wow, thank you for helping me. I now can see that I can have a future here."
And a fruitful
awesome.
life and be a
You
citizen.
can find that
yeah.
policy on my webpage, KariLake.com.
KariLake.com.
And you know what I love, you guys? The accountability that comes with a web page. We're going to hold it over our head like crazy people.
right. Screenshot.
It's awesome. Screenshot it. And we'll be
Use
right
that.
back, and we're going to talk about this latest news release on election integrity with Kari Lake.
Welcome to the She's So Right show featuring Lindsey Graham. Just kidding. And Brandie.
Oh my gosh.
She's making jokes about how much I love to talk, and they're giving me the microphone for this segment for a second.
Well, you have a good story to tell. Well,
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
we're talking about such serious things. You're like, let's have some fun, and I'm like, well,
I
about
know. How do you have
homelessness
fun when
and
you're like,
murder and kids dying
But
of
these
drug
are
overdoses.
important things we're talking about.
Well, so what we were talking about was homelessness, and I have some authority here because I had my salon in downtown Salem, Oregon, not just 2 years ago. And what we know now is that the homelessness in Oregon has spread like wildfire, and you cannot drive down the freeway without seeing actual full encampments where
On the freeway.
on the freeway, they're on the side of the freeway, all down I-5 from Portland to Salem, and they are actually stealing lumber from people, homes, Home Depot, whatever. They're stealing lumber, and they're building facilities now. So they can build facilities, they can build homes,
you mean little mini homes?
yeah, without a permit, without government approval, on land that doesn't belong to them, and make little camps along the freeway.
Yeah,
They're
have you ever tried
graffiti.
to hold your child a party in a park and you have to get like all the license for the Ramada?
Yes,
Yeah.
and they can do
Yes,
whatever they want.
exactly. Isn't
Yep.
that interesting? I've wanted to have like ministry things at
Yeah.
a park, and you have to have all these permits,
Yep.
but they can just camp out there.
And what Kari was saying about holding with her policy, holding the homeless accountable, because the taxpayers are who's funding this state, right?
Yes.
And I think the problem with the homelessness issue is there's so much sympathy, but it's directed toward the homeless, which is fine. A limited amount of sympathy for those who have suffered an injustice.
This would be the greatest country if you fall backwards and you need help. If you fall down, we offer help.
Yes,
right.
yes,
You've got to put some skin in the game.
yes. You cannot
You
expect
lost
a
your
handout.
job, you can't afford the rent. There's help for people. And I'm not saying we pull that back at all. I'm talking about the small percentage, or growing percentage, 30% of the homeless that are choosing to live on the street, choosing to maintain a lifestyle of drug use and lawlessness, and hurting our quality of life in Arizona. And we will become what you're describing if we do not tackle this immediately, because it's a tipping point. It's kind of exponential, and then boom, you've got a dead city.
Well, and Arizonans need to realize that this is a slippery slope. You can have sympathy for the homeless population, but the minute that they grow their camp in your parkade, where you're supposed to walk to work, and you realize you're no longer safe parking in the parkade,
Or that
A,
no
you
one
pay
wants to
for.
come to your business because they have to
Thank
walk
you.
over it.
And now you've got an entire city that's in rumble, in ashes, because just because of the homeless situation. Because they're there and they're making the taxpayers unsafe. People don't want to work at your business. People don't want to come to your business. You don't even want to go to your business. And you're paying money for this building and taxes on these areas that are being destroyed. You're going to take yourself and your business and your money and you're going to go elsewhere,
Right.
which is exactly what I did in Oregon. Homelessness was a major issue. And of course, I left for very different political reasons. But I left, I was paying rent to the city of Salem, so to the actual government. And I took my 5,000 square feet, 5-year lease, and I walked away. And the city suffers because of what they did to me. The city suffers. And
The whole
so do
community.
citizens.
The
Yes,
whole community.
absolutely.
So it's really actually cruel, and you're showing no compassion if you allow people to do that.
Because
Yes.
guess what happens? Imagine then you lose your business and then you're homeless.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now
there
we've
is
added
a
to the-
ripple
yeah.
effect here.
Yes.
Right.
Yep, full circle.
Craziness.
I came up with the idea where we really had to, you don't typically hear somebody running for a statewide office saying we're going to tackle homelessness. But I was driving to a campaign event, and we were at a stoplight, and I looked over, and it was like a scene out of a zombie apocalypse. I saw like 4 or 5 people completely drugged out. One was bent over, and I don't know what drug this person was on, but it scared me. And I thought, imagine being a mother in this part of town. You've got your kid in the stroller, and you're just going to run over to the grocery store and get a few things. This person is dangerous. Whatever they're on, whatever's going on, you wouldn't even dare. You'd rather walk through traffic than walk by this person. And then I looked through the parking lot and I saw like 4 or 5 more people that were on stuff. I don't know what they were on, but it's just not safe. It's not safe to walk through parking lots. And then, of course, we are, thank goodness, we have a freedom, Second Amendment rights here. But even carrying a gun, you don't want to have a shootout in the parking
Right.
lot. You just want to get to your car safely and not be accosted.
Right.
And having kids of my own, I worry about their safety. We should be able to enjoy this beautiful state. We don't want to become Oregon, Washington, California, and so we have to tackle this. And I think that we can really make sure that people get off the streets or move along. But it's no longer going to be cool and allowed in Arizona, if I'm governor, to just live on the streets, cause all kinds of trouble, and detract from the quality of life from Arizonans who pay taxes, work hard, and do the right thing.
Well, and I just have to say, too, it's not the government's job to do everything. Okay, this is what we don't want, is to be dependent on the government to do everything, right?
Right.
And at Turning Point, and I'm hoping he was talking about you, at Freedom Night, Charlie Kirk, someone actually addressed the homelessness issue.
Oh,
and Charlie Kirk had said, well, I met with a gubernatorial candidate, and you know how they can't say anything political. And her policy, and I was like, ooh. And it was a lot of what Charlie was saying was that the church needs to step in. The church is called by God.
The church
to
does
assist
step in
community
a lot.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually feel like the church does so much for that, but they can't do it alone.
No, they can't.
I mean, and if police can't police, there's a whole nother thing,
Well,
right?
that's another part of my plan.
Like, that's a
we're
whole
going to go
nother
back
thing.
to the broken windows. And if you've been around long enough to remember when Rudy Giuliani took over New York City was not safe at all, kind of where it is now. It was just a nightmare. Nobody
Yeah,
wanted to go
I remember
there.
that.
He came in and said, we are going to do broken glass, broken window policy, which is basically you go after every infraction. If somebody is jaywalking and stopping traffic and they're, ambling across the road, we're going to arrest or we're going to ticket. We're going to start going after people. And I know that people are homeless. You say, well, how would they pay the tickets? If they get involved into a program to get help, we will erase all those infractions.
Oh, wow.
But we have to start going after every little thing because we're letting a lot of little things slide and a lot of big things slide right now. And that's how you get unsafe streets. President Trump called it a return to law and order.
Yes.
And we have to have that.
And then then cops will want to sign up here and be here because they're being
can actually
respected
police.
and they can actually do their job.
And I believe that the majority of people want that.
You called us a sanctuary state for police officers, didn't you?
A sanctuary state. Right now, it feels like we're like sanctuary states for homeless and some of the lawlessness, and we need to flip that.
Yeah.
Because we can be an economically strong state. We can be a beautiful state. We know we're a gorgeous state. We have gorgeous people here as well. But if we're not a safe state, then we're nothing. Then who wants to live here?
Right.
Well, I want to move on to something.
Just so you guys know, though, really quick.
What?
I can compare the two.
Yes.
And Arizona is just killing it. This is a
Compared to-
beautiful state compared to Oregon.
Yeah.
In all areas.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Can you
here.
imagine what it was
So
like?
when you're going to be governor, it's going to be even more incredible. It's going to be heaven.
We're just going to be a place that people want to live. The government is not over, involved in their life. We're going to see our beautiful faces because nobody's going to wear masks anymore.
Yes.
Gosh.
Unless they insist on it. If the liberals want to wear masks their whole life, go for it.
Freedom. They have
But
the
take
freedom.
them off your kids. I can't handle watching these beautiful children with masks on. It's just
horrible.
As a mom, it kills me.
Yeah.
It's really, speaking of that, going in, you talked about, I think our last talk, or that I had you on Faith Talk, we talked about cameras in the classrooms, and you were getting some heat on that. Please tell our audience your thoughts on that.
I was just asked about this yesterday, and I said, who brought cameras into the classroom is Governor Ducey when he shut our schools down and introduced Zoom learning, remember?
Yeah.
Yep.
He brought them into our homes. He put cameras in our homes.
In our homes.
Yes.
And exactly. So this isn't a new concept.
Exactly.
The whole issue is we just want to know what the curriculum is. We want to know our kids are safe. We had a sexual assault of a special needs student in Scottsdale. Had there been cameras in that classroom, we could have stopped that or definitely stopped that perpetrator.
Right.
And someone said, oh, it's Big Brother. No. Big Brother implies the government watching you. These are government-run schools, and we're keeping an eye on them. And so if they're going to lie and say they're teaching respectable curriculum and we find out they're not, your son or your daughter comes home and says, this is what they taught me at school, you can call the school and say, hey, wait a minute, what happened during fourth period in my son's class? He says it was very un-American, that anti-American curriculum or whatever the curriculum issue was. They can pull that tape and find out that recording. This isn't something that a bunch of people who are perverted, have nothing to do with the school, are going to be able to go, I'm going to watch school. I'll say this.
Look at little Sally today.
The teachers union, which, by the way, doesn't care about teachers, nor does it care about students, and they really hate the parents, they were behind pushing our police officers to wear body cams. They pushed and pushed and pushed for that, and now they want no accountability. I just want curriculum accountability.
That's right.
And if we don't get cameras in the classroom, then we need to find a place that our parents can see right out there in the open what the curriculum is.
Well, and even as you say that, that's still a lesser option than what you're saying, because teachers can lie and teachers can slip little statements in, and we've seen them do it all over YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, where a teacher's political or racial opinion becomes a part of the curriculum simply because, well, they've got your attention. They've got the classroom. It's my classroom. I'll say what I want. And the problem with anyone who doesn't like the idea of cameras, you got to wonder, well, why not then? If you're following the curriculum, if you're being appropriate, if you're not doing anything wrong, what is the problem with us being able to hold you accountable?
Right. We were talking to a teacher, Jonathan Koppel, a month ago, who was saying he wished there had been cameras in the classroom because there's a lot of things that he wished, when students were doing things or coming against him or lying, he's like, I wish things were on camera. So if you're not doing anything wrong, there's nothing to worry about.
If they're accused of something, wrongly accused. But think of this. We have cameras right now on our school buses aimed at the children. So this whole thing, we're trying to protect the kids. They're already recording our kids in the cafeterias and the hallways. The only place they don't want cameras is on the instruction of what's being taught.
Yeah.
Why? And the same people who are attacking me for this is an idea Tucker Carlson put out, by the way. So I'm not alone. There are some other conservatives out there saying we just want to know what's being taught. The same people who I'm running against who are now, they're just trying to find something to attack me on. These are people who, as lobbyists, made a fortune by those traffic gotcha cams, as I call them. You're driving, you're a little bit late for work, you speed a little bit through a light, and next thing you know, 3 weeks later, you get a picture.
Yeah.
And you got a ding against your driving record. So the same people who are opposed to cameras showing the accountability for our curriculum are all for snapping pictures of you at the stoplight and sending you a bill. They're all for cameras in the school buses and cameras in the cafeteria, but not on the
How do they
curriculum.
indoctrinate, Kari, with cameras in the classroom?
That's right.
Exactly.
You
Right?
are foiling their plan.
You're
think
ruining
about
the camps.
Yes, we've got to brainwash them. And what they don't accomplish there, they finish in university, and then the media finishes the rest of it, right?
The media does a great job of tying
It's
it
like
all
our
in together
kids
for
are just
everyone.
getting it everywhere.
Yeah, I will stumble upon, the other day I was in a restaurant with my husband on a date, and the news was up on the cameras in the sports, and I stood up and started screaming at the news. I never watched the news for this reason, and I just sitting there for 5 minutes, I was furious. I'm like, they really do this to people 24 hours a day. The COVID ticker, the masks, the doing the interview 6 feet apart, the whole thing. And
I just did
lost
one the
my
other day
mind.
with Martha Raddatz
I
from
saw
ABC.
that. I saw how
She
far
said
she had to stand from you.
They said, you stand here, and then the producer walks 6-7 feet away, and I'm like, this is so stupid. We're outside. What the heck is going on?
So
And
stupid.
then the final product, they say it's going to be, fair. Well, tell us about your campaign, blah, blah, blah. And then what they put on is like the big lie, and these people.
Oh my
and I'm like,
gosh.
Oh my God. It
gosh.
never fails.
But Kari, we see right through it. Just so you know, your people, we see right through it. Conservatives, Republicans, whatever you want to call the people who are pro-freedom, we know their tricks. We already know what they're going to do to you, and it's actually just joyful to watch you dance around their silly questions.
Well, the smear ads are coming out against me. And I told President Trump, I was talking to him on the phone, I said, they're giving me the Trump treatment. They're so
Yes,
afraid.
it's an honor. It's a
They're so
badge.
afraid of the America First movement because they know it works and it will root out corruption and bring the government back to we the people. And so that's why they're attacking. And he said, you're over the target. That's why. Just be strong.
Yep, you are. You're
strong,
doing amazing.
Mama. We're praying for you.
All right.
You're back. You're amazing. And you guys, coming up soon, March 5th, the Rock and Roll Rodeo with Kari Lake. It's a Kari Lake rally. Your girls, Lindsey and
It's
I,
gonna be fun.
we're emceeing this event. There's going to be fun for the whole family. Go to our page. It's in our link at She's So Right, and go to KariLake.com and see what's happening with this campaign and get involved, guys. It's going to be an amazing year with Kari at the helm.
God bless America.
Thank you, guys. It was so much fun to be on.
Thank you.
Thank you.